Every year has its successes and failures, and unfortunately this is going to be one of this year's failures. So I have what I thought was a pretty good plan, which was to leave the weed block about a foot between, I guess this is closer to 2 feet here, with the trellis in the middle, and then hope that I could plant the tomatoes, leave enough space so that I could water and not have a whole lot of weed issue. Well, that has utterly failed. Areas like this, I was able to pull the weeds and the grass from between the plants, and I think this looks pretty good. And there's some grass and weeds obviously, but these plants will be just fine. And then I've got areas like this. The plants are stunted, the grass is overtaken, and I need to get this under control. My plan is to take scraps of cardboard, put them between the plants, and at the very least that will give me a good foot or so between plants that doesn't have grass growth. I don't know if it's going to stay that way or if I'm going to have to come back and pin that cardboard down. I'm going to guess I've got to pin it down or that grass will just grow up, but we're going to try it. A couple goals for today. One is to get the grass around the perimeter of the greenhouse out and get that center area with the tomatoes staked up and looking a little nicer. Second project is to get the area around the onions weeded, cleaned out, looking sharp. Last but certainly not least is this fence line. Most of this is actually just stuff that's grown in. I don't know what this is, but it's everywhere. I want to get this cleaned out because I actually have a row of peppers hidden down in there and I'd like them to grow. Also pulled much of the grass as I could around the kale and the flowers over by the rabbits. This was beans. This is that area where I wasn't real sure how they did, and I think I got my answer. Probably got about 10 plants here. I'll let them do their thing. Flowers look nice next to them, so we'll just let that be. Rabbits are loving the grass that we pulled and the weeds. Always amazed when all the babies get in here. I think they eat their full and take a nap, because another half an hour you guys are all going to be sleeping, aren't you? Also got the greenhouse cleaned out. Peppers are a little bit weak. I think that's just because they don't get a lot of breeze, and I need to fix that. Plants are still very healthy. They just don't have that that upright sturdiness that I like. All right, well, the last video you saw of the garden disaster, grass and weeds, was about a week ago. I've spent about the last 6 days cleaning stuff up. Let me show you what I've got done and what I'm hoping to do differently next year. I got a load of cardboard from a local store. I used that to cover the path area and also the areas around the tomatoes. I didn't have a better solution for that. It doesn't look great, but I think it'll at least get the grass a little bit under control and let those tomatoes take off. I did leave a space around the base of each of the tomato plants, just enough that I can keep up with it in terms of the grass, but also give it a chance to get those nutrients and moisture that it needs. Pulled all the grass around the onions. This is looking a lot better. I think in the future I'm going to have to just do this every other day or something. I did lose a few. They got pulled up, but that's fine. The majority are doing great, and in terms of size, they are looking excellent. It's about 1.5 to 2 inches across, and they got plenty of time to still grow. So, very pleased with that. Two trellises on the other side of the garden that I'm not using cardboard for. These areas seem to be mainly weed pressure, not a whole lot of grass, and what is there I can pull pretty easily. So I've just been doing that every couple of days, and these are looking good. This is the style I was going for with this trellis. It's about the only area where it's actually working. I've woven them through as much as I can, and if I need to tie them up, I can obviously do that, but I think this is going to work pretty well. I do need in the future to not plant them away from the trellis. These work because they're right underneath where that trellis wire is. The other side, I planted them 6, 8, 10 inches this way, and the problem is they don't want to obviously grow that way, so that becomes a little bit of an issue. But we're starting to get some fruit. Rutabagas are starting to take off. Peppers are loving the heat. Last but certainly not least, got out and pulled all of the grass and weeds that were growing in from the fence line here. I had an entire row of peppers that was covered up. You can definitely tell the impact of that. Every row is the same varieties of peppers. So on the right hand side, we've got one that wasn't covered in weeds, and on the left is the one that was covered for about 3 weeks in weeds and grass. I did harvest broccoli this week. Got a video on how I preserved that coming out probably in the next couple of days. And the squash is looking great. So I think that'll do that for this one. Been a long week, been a hot week, but I am very pleased with how much cleaner the garden looks, especially the areas around the tomatoes. A lot of time and energy goes into those, and I really didn't want to have them taken over by grass. So the cardboard I think will be interesting in the future to see if that works. I don't know that I would do it in the entire garden. It is a little bit of a pain to get to fit around the plants, so I may have to go back to weed block under the trellises, but something to think about for next year. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.